Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to preface this video by saying, if you do not like the discussion of gender identity, if you get triggered by other people talking about dysphoria, I suggest you leave this video and closer to the end. Because that's where I'm going to talk a little bit about gender dysphoria. Other than that, keep watching. Now I'm going to also mention the names of the people that this story is about. This is going to be about why I left Burger King, specifically. And I'm going to name these people now, and I'm going to describe them throughout the story. So, Betty, John, Mauricio, Julie, Carrie, and Susie. Remember those names. One more time. Betty, John, Mauricio, Julie, Carrie, Susie. 7 people, I think. 6 people. So, we're going to start from the beginning, because I worked there for about 9 months, and this is all the stuff that happened throughout that time of me working there. So, it started off with Betty. She interviewed me, and I put quotes over that, because to me, it was not an interview, it was her literally talking shit the whole time about the other employees. Her basically being like, yeah, I have lazy workers, they never want to work, all they do is talk on their phones, eat food, and don't actually work. And basically, literally, it was just basically her saying, so, like, do you want to work? Because I'm not trying to hire anyone who doesn't want to work. I'm like, yes, I want work. I'm trying to move. So I need hours. She said she'll give me as many hours as I want, and she hired me. On average, I wanted at the very least, 20 hours a week, max 40 with a little overtime every now and then, which I was totally fine with, totally cool with. When I started working, I noticed people got away with a lot of shit. Specifically, calling off, smoking, and drinking during shift. And I don't mean like just drinking their juice from their cup or like stuff like that. No, I mean like alcohol. I've watched people walk across the street to the gas station, come back to work, pour a beer inside a cup, and drink it. And then the smoking, they would hide in the fridge, under the counter, stuff like that. And they got away with it. And Mauricio, I'm going to call him the store owner, because in a sense, he kind of is the store owner. He's the owner of 2 stores at Burger King, or 2 Burger King stores in my town. And he was responsible for our store. He knew these people were doing these stuff, but since they worked there so long, he didn't care. And everyone got away with a lot of stuff. So, that kind of tells you a little bit how, like, this company is. Another thing I want to mention, I worked there for a total of 9 months and was never properly trained to be specific. Yeah, I was shown different areas of the register, I was shown where things were, and that's literally it. Most of the stuff I learned was self-taught, or finally me asking another employee, not a manager who was supposed to train me, another employee, hey, how do I make this? And I didn't learn to like make food till I want to say 3 months before I left. Another thing that was really common at Burger King is we were always understaffed. Never had anyone. We were supposed to be getting people, and all the time we got people, we were supposed to be getting people, but we never really did. Eventually, Betty, who was the store manager, moved to another Burger King, which, fine, whatever, I didn't care. I wasn't really a big fan of Betty's just because she talked a lot of smack about a lot of employees and managers. So we got manager number 2, who is Carrie. Carrie is manager number 2. She's the one I would describe as overwhelmed, stressed mom. And you can really see that in her. Carrie was nice at first, but she started getting overwhelmed by a lot of the employees calling out, which I totally understand, totally fine. Then I had an issue with Carrie. So, yeah, I called out every now and then because I got sick, because COVID. I didn't get COVID, but I got sick, which the Burger King policy says if we throw up or anything like throw up, 2-degree fever, coughing profusely, stuff like that, we are to go home or stay home. So we're supposed to call at least 4 hours in advance. I called 6. I called 6 hours in advance and said, hey, I'm like throwing up like crazy. I can't come into work today. Carrie and Betty both messaged me. Carrie's like, I mean, I don't really have anyone today. And this is going to be a part that pissed me off when I explained it. And Betty said, take something. You'll be fine. One thing I would like to point out about me. Nausea medicine doesn't work for me at all. There's certain nausea medicine that does. A, it's expensive, and B, I didn't have the money at the time to get any. So I went in. The full staff should be like 6 people, whatever. They're fine if there's at least 4 people and a manager. There was 4 people and a manager. There was no need for me to be there. I worked my shift for 4 hours before I was like, I gotta go home. But every hour or so, I was throwing up. Finally, at like the 3rd or 4th hour, I was like, I need to go home. I literally tried calling out, and I'm sick. I gotta go home. One of the girls who was friends with Carrie got a text from Carrie, and Carrie told her to tell me this, and I quote, if you go home, you're getting written up. I said, fine, but I want a dispute form. The rule about write-ups is you need to write someone up within 24 hours of the incident. If you don't, it becomes like never happened. Never got written up because it was stupid, because she knows I called out 6 hours early. I tried to not show up because I was sick. This is where my respect for both Betty and Carrie went downhill. I lost all respect. Eventually, Carrie left to a different store, and we got my favorite manager, Julie. One thing I want to explain about Julie, she was lied to by the store owner. The store owner had the audacity to tell her we were full staffed, everything works, and that she shouldn't have a worry about people calling out. She was told those exact words. So yeah, Mauricio had the audacity to lie to Julie about that stuff. Now we're getting into the part when I came out as gender fluid. So like I said in one of my last videos, I am gender fluid, she, they, and I use she, they pronouns, and I changed my name to Onyx. Julie was really respectful of this. Susie, the assistant manager, who has been here the whole time, I got along with her fine. But Susie made fun of this at first. Her excuse, well, a lot of people's excuse for her was she did not understand gender, name change, and stuff like that. But here's my thing. This woman is bisexual and is part of the LGBTQ community. I know that there are people part of the LGBTQ community that are not educated as much on the community, and especially gender identity. And anytime I would correct Susie, she would make fun of me and be like, dead name, or come get this dead name. Obviously she said my legal name at the time, which I'm not gonna say because I've moved on from that name. And then there was a day I literally was like, Onyx, my name is Onyx. And she literally went and said, dead name, dead name, dead name. And I said, can you please stop? This is actually hurtful. And that actually did get her to stop doing that. And she started respecting my name. She started actually writing my name on timesheets and stuff like that, which I did start appreciating. To the subject of the understaffing. So it took about a manager, a shift lead, and 3 other people to leave before we actually got people. So if you thought we were understaffed before, we were way understaffed now. They sent over a shift lead and 2 other guys from the other store who were training to come to our store. One of these guys' name is John. John was one of the first people I met. Like I said before, obviously this is not their real name, and I really debated saying this person's real name, but I was like, you know what? I don't need this much negativity in my life. I'm letting this out because it is a story and I wanted to tell you guys. But I don't feel the need to say his real name. But he's a douchebag. So John is one of the first ones I met, and I was really excited because I finally could start introducing myself as Onyx. Because for about 5 months or so, I was known as my dead name. But now that people were coming, I was like, hi, my name is Onyx. What really made me like this guy, not like crush or anything, but what made me like this guy as a person was he's like, oh, like the gemstone. I'm like, finally, someone understands. And I was like, okay, cool. He gets it. At first, he was a really cool person. When I worked with him, he actually worked because we were understaffed. And we started talking about anime. He put so many animes on my anime list. And they're still on there. I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to watch anime anyways. And if I watch one he recommended, whatever. It's not a big deal. It's anime. But yeah, he basically filled up my watch list and we talked about anime. He thought my tattoo was cool and blah, blah, blah. So, eventually I started hearing other employees, not necessarily talking smack, but talking facts. And I'll tell you why I say that. So, a lot of the employees were talking and saying, yeah, John doesn't work at all. He's lazy. He'll come in, clock in, sit for 40 minutes, pretend he's working a little bit, then go on his 10. So that was the energy that I was starting to get. And I was like, oh, that's weird. He didn't do that with me. Like, he actually worked his shift. I don't know where that's coming from. He seems like a cool guy. One thing that's well known about John is everyone hates John. Currently, I do too. One thing about the Burger King's younger generation of people, which I'm a part of, like 25 and under, we all had agreement that we had the same, not the exact same, but similar political views, similar standpoints, similar groups we follow or land into, and similar groups we support. And eventually we got on the subject of gender. So I did this thing at Burger King. People normally like saying ma'am or sir. I personally don't like saying that because I don't like assuming gender. I don't like saying ma'am or sir because I don't like assuming gender. So I said one of two things. I said, what can I get for you, my friend? Or, what can I get for you, honey? So I said, honey or my friend. John questioned this, because he's like, why don't you say sir or ma'am? And I'm like, I don't like assuming gender. And he's all, if they are dressed like a woman, they're a woman. If they are dressed like a man, they're a man. I'm like, that's not entirely true. And so we got on the discussion of gender. So while on this discussion of gender, we got on the subject of biology, because he brought in biology to the situation. He said, it's based off your genitals, there's only 2 genders, but then he also said that it's based off chromosomes, and he has a friend with both chromosomes. For me, I felt like, dude, you're literally proving my point. There's more than one gender, and you literally just explained, like, your friend has both whatever. I personally don't believe that it is based off your genitals. I think that concept is stupid, and I'm actually educating myself more on the subject. Like, I have Gender Your Guide to read about, and then I got Why Gender Matters. I know this is off subject, but like, I'm in the community of LGBTQ and discussion of gender and stuff. I'm part of that community because, like I said, I use she, they pronouns because that's what I am. I'm gender fluid. And even I'm still learning about it. Out of curiosity, I asked how he felt about gender fluid non-binary people. Now, the Burger King crew knew I was gender fluid because of my name change and because I would constantly bring a non-binary fan in to show my non-binary days, and I would wave it at myself because it's hot, and it would show, yo, this is my non-binary day, and people understood that. It's basically, I don't remember fully along the lines what he said, but I do remember saying, if you identify as more than one pronoun or not your born pronoun, I'm just gonna call you an it. I was so pissed that I literally said, we are going to agree to disagree, and I think we should end this conversation here. And I walked away to the front. All the guys that worked at Burger King and know me know that I don't get pissed. I don't get pissed often. I get pissed at customers, yeah, because I get tired of getting yelled at by customers. But I don't get pissed at the employees, ever. So for me to be pissed and be like, I need to walk away. This is where the dysphoria comes in. I've never felt dysphoria. I felt dysphoria once before this, and this was when I was discovering who I was. I didn't know what I was feeling at the time until... I didn't know what I was going through at the time until I figured out who I was. And eventually, maybe I'll make that into a story of me figuring out who I was. But I had to go to the bathroom, and I started crying. And I felt numb. Like, I couldn't feel my toes, I couldn't feel my fingers. My stomach felt like it fell to the bottom of my asshole. And I just, like, I wasn't there anymore. I shut down. I texted my manager, Julie, that night and told her what happened. And after that, I was like, can I go home early? Asking the manager who came from another store, can I go home early? I need to go. And he was like, you know what? Yeah, you only have 10 minutes left, so why not? And it's slow. So I went home, and I was so numb that it took my boyfriend to turn on cold water and run it on me for me to feel anything. It took my boyfriend running cold water on me to me actually, like, come back to reality. The next day, I talked to Julie to see what's gonna happen with John. She said she talked to Mauricio and was gonna have John not work anymore. John already randomly came in when he wasn't supposed to come in, and normally made the shifts overstaffed. After the incident, I could not work with John anymore. It made me uncomfortable. Because of what he said, I knew how he felt at me, which made me feel dysphoric, and I cannot work with him. Julie was very understanding about that and made sure that if he did show up, to never schedule him with me. It took another manager to tell me what was really going on. Eventually, Julie gave me more info too. So basically, what happened is, Mauricio said he could not punish John because he wasn't, like, printed on the schedule. So Burger King had this habit of writing names on the schedule. It'd be a schedule, and they'd write it on it. This is the schedule, right? It's printed and stuff. Then they would write people's names in. Because he wasn't even scheduled, and because his name wasn't even written in, and even if it was written in, he could not get in trouble because there is no proof that he was actually there. But here's my problem. There is time clock proof that he was there. There's time clock proof. And you cannot give him a harassment warning. We have a sign in our break room that talks about trans rights and harassment. And y'all couldn't have given him a warning or a write-up or something like that? This was the final straw for me. I threatened to quit a lot just because of the state of the restaurant, because of how often employees wouldn't show up, everyone got away with everything, everything always broke. When I officially left, one side of the broiler where we cooked the burgers was broken. But like I said, originally I threatened a lot. I threatened to quit a lot because I was sick of the job. But when I heard that nothing could be done about my harassment situation, I was like, that's it. I'm officially leaving. I'm gonna find a job, and when I do, I'm putting in my 2 weeks and I'm gone. And I did find another job, and I'm really happy at that job. And I put my 2 weeks in. I was very open with Julie, and I wrote a note for Mauricio why I left. I also left a note on Indeed, because on Indeed jobs, they obviously have people who rate their experiences working at different places. For me, it was Burger King, and I wrote my review, and it was very, very harsh about it. I was straight up about it. Because literally what happened at Burger King was absolute bullshit, and I definitely agree with any customer that has said, I think the store should close. I agree. because it's run poorly. And it's not even Julie's fault. People blame the manager, but it is not even her fault. But once I found a job, I was like, I'm out. I'm leaving a note the last day I'm working. And I was told I would get my check within 2 days. Another thing I forgot to mention is, I was like, you know what? This is my FU to Burger King. I said, I'm going to work some overtime, so that way I have money for before I start work. And I worked overtime. I had about 2 weeks before I was going to start working. It's actually kind of funny because one of the managers from the other store, I had mentioned, like, yeah, I'm going to wait 2 weeks before I work at my next job because that's when they have available. He said, you know, if you want to work the extra 2 weeks, I know Mauricio will let you. And I said, that is a hard pass. I refuse to give any more support to the company than I've already given. I'm trying to leave. I don't want to be here. And I'm not going to make myself miserable for another 2 weeks. So finally, the last day came. I was done. It was official. I got my last checks, which were like split apart into 3 different things. But it was whatever. And I left my review a few days after I quit because I was like, I'm gonna wait because I want to get my check and then I'm gonna leave the review. I left the review and I actually sent the review to Julie because she was having a bad day and it made her laugh because it was just all true. All of it was true. If you are running a company and if you let employees get away with harassment, drinking, smoking, or anything like that, specifically the harassment part, because that was the biggest issue. If you let people get away with harassment at your company, you do not give a shit about your employees and you're a shitty person. So yeah, all of this is the reason why I left Burger King, and I don't ever plan on going back to like a fast food restaurant, anything like that specifically, ever again. I'm really happy at the current job I'm at, and they actually care about their employees. They know my legal name, but they are putting Onyx on all of my paperwork, except obviously my check. But I honestly appreciate what they're doing for me, and they have a lot of support for me, and they're doing a lot to help me. Anyways, that is the reason why I left Burger King. I hope y'all have an awesome weekend, and I will see y'all in the next video. Alright, bye!